And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RS-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside, SC off. Bring in, SC off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Tingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep that. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome to another NSF broadcast. Today, or I guess tonight if you're in Florida, we are launching the USSF-52 mission carrying the X-37B Spaceplane for the US Space Force. SpaceX is going to do this on a Falcon Heavy, which is quite unique for this vehicle. This will be the first time the X-37B is lifted on such a heavy vehicle. And like I said, we're live, so thanks for joining in. I see the 5x5s in chat, and I am Jack Beyer for NSF, and we'll be bringing you coverage of tonight's launch from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Welcome to the stream. Also joining me on commentary, we have the ever-ebullient Alejandro Alcantara. I can't even do it. We have Alex. Alex, how you doing?
What was that? What was that name again? Ever what?
Alex Ebullient.
No.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
that's a word.
What? I didn't know that, but okay. Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm here once again because Falcon Heavy. Come on. This is metal.
Yeah, This should
It's not
be
Psyche, but it's metal.
It's still metal. It definitely is. In
It's
fact, it's
Falcon
3 times
Heavy.
the metal of a Falcon 9 launch. Cool. So also joining us on commentary, I believe we have Sawyer out in the field. If Sawyer is in position, I'm giving him a little bit of time to
I am.
unmute. Hey Sawyer, how you doing?
Hello, Jack. It is a beautiful night out here. I am wearing my NSF Christmas sweater that I got at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, but I'm currently looking to my left at Falcon Heavy, to my right at Falcon 9, and to the right of that, LZs 1 and 2. So it's a great spot, great night. Let's have a great launch.
Indeed. So we will be talking all about tonight's launch. We have about an hour and 22 minutes to go until the opening of the window. It's a 10-minute window. And if you have any questions, feel free to do the standard thing and type at NASA Spaceflight into chat, and we'll see your question pop up in some nifty software that we have running in the background. But for a brief overview of tonight's mission with Falcon Heavy, let's go to Alex. Alex, what number Falcon Heavy is this? Is this the 6th Falcon Heavy?
This is the 9th Falcon Heavy. It is the 5th and last of 2023, which is mind-blowing that there have already been 4 Falcon Heavies, and this is the 5th this year, right? It's like, I remember a few years ago when we were thinking, oh my gosh, so many Falcon Heavies still left to fly and everything. And, 2023 came and it's almost gone. And boy, already 4, and this is the 5th of the year. Kind of crazy. But yeah, this is the 9th overall. We had another 4 prior to that, so a total of 9. And today's mission, you said a brief summary, but it's actually really complicated to talk about this because it has a lot to it. The first thing
Alex.
is, as you mentioned, go.
Alex, saying you're going to give us a brief overview is like saying
Exactly.
Philip Sloth is going to write a short article on SLS. So
And,
I think
and then
the
it's
audience
2,000
at
words.
this
But yeah.
the audience at this point knows that all things are relative. But please continue to fill our brains with knowledge.
Yeah, so basically, as you mentioned before, it is the first time the X-37B is being launched on a heavy rocket. Something that hasn't happened before. Prior launches of the X-37B had been on the smallest version of the Atlas V. In terms of performance, it was the Atlas 501 configuration, and then it also launched on Falcon 9, and it was a Falcon 9 with RTLS. And in fact, it was not even the Falcon 9 Block 5; it was a Block 4. So it was an even earlier version. It was RTLS. So there was plenty of performance to launch this into orbit. But back then, the orbit they were targeting was a low Earth orbit. So why is it that they need a Falcon Heavy, a heavy launch vehicle? Well, it is because it is going farther away. It's going to a much higher energy orbit, and we believe, based on the hazard zones, because obviously the US Space Force doesn't say, hey, yeah, we're carrying it to this location, into this precise part of space, and we're doing exactly this. They don't do that. It's very weird when the US Space Force does anything like that for any mission at all. But in this particular case, we can sort of more or less try to guess what is going on with this mission, and based at least on the hazard zones, it looks like it's going to a high inclination, high eccentricity, or highly elliptical orbit, where it's like a super oval-shaped kind of orbit, and it is very inclined relative to the equator. And so those type of missions, those type of orbits do need a lot of energy, and that's why the Falcon Heavy is needed for these flights. Now, apart from that, I guess I have another thing to say about this, because there's a ton of stats on the description. You can see a bunch of things. We may talk about some of those in the broadcast today, but there's one stat that I should mention, because why not? And this is going to spark probably some debates in chat, in descriptions, after the fact. If you go back and watch, you're probably going to debate about this. But the thing is, this may be the 300th launch of a SpaceX if you count, if you put some asterisks here and there. So if you count failed launches, if you also count the Starship, and if you also count in-flight abort test from Falcon 9, then you have 300. This does not count Amos 6 because it never launched, right? But everything else that lifted off the ground that was built by SpaceX, that was a complete rocket at least, doesn't count, for example, the suborbital hops from the Starship and things like that. But it does count the two, integrated flight tests and things like that, the big ones with the 2 stages. And if you count those two, the in-flight abort test from Falcon 9 and everything else, then you got 300. If you only count orbit-capable launches, I guess, the next launch, which is in about 4 hours from now, then that'll be the 300th. But still, 300.
Does that include Falcon 1 launches?
Yep, 5 Falcon 1 launches, 284 Falcon 9s, 9 Falcon Heavies, this one included, and 2 Starships. You can see it there in the description, a full rundown of, per rockets, which ones there have been. And again, this also counts in-flight abort test, which didn't reach orbit, wasn't planned to reach orbit, and it was not even capable of reaching orbit, even if they wanted to, because the second stage didn't have a real second stage engine. But it was a complete rocket. It was not just like Starships, for example, where they did this sort of hop test, or Grasshopper, where it did these also hop tests and things like that. Everything else that is not that add up to 300 basically. So 300.
Yeah, that's
just
really
like
remarkable. In the same way that there have been, this will be the 9th Falcon Heavy mission. I don't know where I got 6 from, but there you go. I guess it's because there's been 4 so far, with 5 total this year. I remember around the beginning of this year, maybe the end of 2022, where the manifest for Falcon Heavy started to sort of take shape, and we were all kind of like, 5 in 1 year? No way. Some of that's got to slip. And yet, here we are, coming up on the launch of the 5th in a single year, which is really remarkable when you consider that the other 3-cord heavy lift rocket, the Delta IV Heavy, has launched 11 or 12 times in as many years. I think that is the number. I could be wildly off there, but either way, suffice to say that Delta IV Heavy never launched 5 times in a year. So it's just yet another thing that underscores SpaceX's quote-unquote steamroller. And, I love me some Delta IV Heavy. I'm not trying to throw shade. It's just putting things in context. 5 launches of a Falcon Heavy in a single calendar year is utterly remarkable. And that's not all, right, Alex? Because you said there is another launch. This is the repeat of the attempt of a Falcon Heavy Starlink double header. So what is the other launch that is coming up tonight after Falcon Heavy?
Yeah, so we're also going to cover that one on a separate live stream this time around. So far, at least. Then you can see the other rocket at Slick 40. It is currently scheduled to lift off at 11:01 p.m. Eastern Time, or in about a little bit over 4 hours from now. It will be, if Falcon Heavy launches on time, the time between both launches will be a bit under 3 hours, which will make it also a record. But then again, Starlink, for example, has a 4-hour window, 4.5 actually, and 6 different T0s, 6 different attempts. So if it delays a little bit, then it may not break that record turnaround. So we'll probably deal with that once we get to the Starlink live stream. But definitely 2 rockets here preparing for launch at the Cape. In just 4 hours, 3 hours from each other. That's really, really amazing. We had an attempt the last time around, right? And we got that delay with Falcon Heavy and the Starlink as well. It all got pretty much delayed, but hopefully today will be different. And I said it before the live stream. When we were talking about this mission between us, behind the scenes and everything, that I don't hope that this launches on time. I know it'll launch on time. Let's go. Gotta be positive.
Right. Yeah, that's very positive of you, Alex. I mean, dare I say, you're being ebullient. I don't know. I'm trying to use words.
Ebullient.
Good deal. Well, let's get into some viewer questions here. But first off, I do want to thank some people for coming out and supporting the channel, because as y'all know, we could not do what we do without all of you. So thank you, Jim Cavett, for gifting a Red Team membership, and thank you, RC Horseman, for doing the same. If you got a Red Team membership gifted to you from anybody, be sure to thank them, and be sure to check out all of the sweet perks that you now get. Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, since B-1058 landed successfully, but didn't make it back to shore properly, does the consecutive landing count reset, or still at the current number? I would argue that it should remain at the current number. I mean, it landed successfully. The sadness occurred after that. What is your take? I'll go with you first, Sawyer, and then we will go and get Alex's take, which he may or may not hem and haw, and he may or may not take 5 minutes to answer, but we still appreciate your take, Alex.
It's just so you can take bites of your sandwich.
I mean, I do have a delicious bagel in front of me that I am itching to finish, but that's neither here nor there. Sawyer,
got it. Shortest answer possible.
What? Yeah, thanks. What is your take? Does the landing count reset after 1058's untimely demise, as you can see there on the left, or does it retain the current number?
I mean, according to Next Space Flight, it's listed in red as a landing failure. It landed. I think this was more of a recovery. This is a recovery failure, I think, more so than a landing failure. It landed successfully, but the recovery operations were not successful. So that's my 2 cents.
I would agree. Alex, what's your take?
The thing is, next to spaceflight counts recoveries. And this is a thing that we have debated. I know that probably Michael had to debate this back in the day when B-1055 toppled over. I think that was 2019, right? After being recovered, after it landed, but it was not successfully recovered. And so it is this sort of thing where it's like, next to spaceflight counts recoveries. It doesn't count landings apart, and so I'm trying to vouch for a different count. Basically, 2 different counts. One where you count recoveries, and one where you count landings. I used to count differently, but then again, landings were becoming super reliable, and recoveries as well. So I started, I actually made a new spreadsheet earlier this year that I basically didn't care on putting things differently. I guess I'll have to put something different, I don't know. It occurs so infrequently that it's more like a note, a footnote, on the page kind of thing.
Right.
It's happened only twice in more than 200 landings on drone ships. So I don't think it's really that big of a deal, and it should be landings, not recoveries. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, it's two separate operations. One
Mhm.
is, did the booster successfully land on the drone ship or on the landing zone? And the second operation is recovering the landed booster. I mean, you don't
In
recover a
fact-
booster that hasn't landed. Well, I guess I should take that back.
Yeah, I was gonna say. In fact, they
Right,
had
go on.
a moment where they had a failed landing, but the booster was recovered. That was P-1050 on CRS 18, I think it was, in 2018 or something like that. And
Right.
it basically had the Griffin hydraulic fluid. I think it was like not the fluid. The hydraulics were locked or something. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. It was like more than 200 landings ago.
If memory serves, they ran out of hydraulic fluid. Something
No, that
along
was
those
an
lines.
earlier one. That was one of the first landings with Griffins, because they did the whole thing closed loop after that failed landing. But the whole thing is that the Griffins weren't working properly, so the thing couldn't steer to the landing pad, and so it landed on the water, but it landed intact. And the thing is, they recovered that because it landed intact. It was
Yeah, they
not
did.
like this time around where it toppled over on the drone ship, it broke off, the LOX tank basically went to the sea. This thing just broke, so they couldn't even recover it. Whereas in that case, it didn't land successfully because it didn't land where it was supposed to, but it did a splashdown and it was successfully recovered. So it's like, there you have a case where it's the other way around, where you have a failed landing, but you have a successful recovery. So that's why I vouch for like two different counts of one for recovery, one for landing.
Good deal. I'm inclined to agree. Let's see here. What else do we have? Musical Wolves. Thank you for the support. They say, will we get any pun camera views? What was a pun camera? Do they mean
Really,
fun?
Jack?
Sawyer,
Really?
Sawyer, help me out. Help me out here.
Yes, that was as in fun camera views with the word pun. I think they meant if I have a camera out here, which I do, but it's not going to the stream. I may or may not have some stuff after that'll be on social media and for members, but not presently here. So while you may be inclined to agree with Alex, I am literally just inclined on a hill.
Well,
Come
either way,
on.
we're not going to be as highly inclined as Falcon Heavy's orbit today.
Way to bring
I
it
guess
back.
the X-37B is not Falcon Heavy's orbit, but you know what I mean. Good deal. Thank you, Musical Wolves. And we do have Max out in the field. I don't think he's on comms today, but Max will be operating the field camera, or one of them anyways. We have many cameras because we're NSF. That's what we do. Sean plays too much. Thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Rankley gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you. Bideford saying it sounds like I have a cold. Nope, just allergies. They say howdy Sawyer, Alex, and everyone else joining the stream tonight. Thank you so much, Bideford. That's an extremely generous super chat, as per usual. And I'm being told in our back channel that Julia is actually out in the field operating the tracking camera. So Max will be out there shooting, but operating our tracking camera will be Julia. So thank you to her for that. And also, she is indicating that the KSC Visitor Center is at capacity. I believe I saw some scuttlebutt on Twitter regarding that earlier, so good luck, everybody, getting out to your viewing location. And as always, if you are familiar with the Space Coast at all, as I know you are, Sawyer, anytime there is a big ticket launch, please do have some patience after the launch in traffic. There will be some gnarly traffic. That is just kind of how it goes, and it's just comes with the territory. So, Sawyer, what is your worst, or maybe not worst, but like what is your most intense post-launch traffic story?
Ooh, post-launch. For me, most of the worst have been pre-launch because I've learned to just hang out and wait till everyone clears. I remember for STS-135, this was 5 hours before launch. I was driving to get to the press site, and we were backed up, for those that know, all the way from State Road 50. It was that stopped up. It took over an hour to get there. The other one that I remember that was crazy going in was Falcon Heavy demo flight, where, again, I was fortunate to have the media pass. There was one lane for people that were going to the visitor complex and one lane for employees / people that had access. And it was backed up onto, at the time, what was the drawbridge there. It's absolutely... That was nuts. I'm sure post Demo 2 was probably insane as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcon Heavy demo was insane. After any shuttle launch, it was insane. So definitely have some patience with traffic. I have Brian V, or maybe Brian 5, in chat asking what the definition of scuttlebutt is. It's like a rumor or, gossip, hearsay. I guess kids these days would probably say hot goss. I heard some hot goss about the KSC Visitor Center.
No one would say that. I do want to point out, Jack, Pack Your Patience is literally one of our recommendations for people that are going to launches in the recently released How to View a Rocket Launch video that was just posted on our YouTube channel. And another one of those, as we learned today, is for big launches such as Falcon Heavy, give yourself extra time. The traffic here has been pretty bad for hours for this, I think, because A, Falcon Heavy, B, doubleheader, and C, holiday weekend or holiday time, you get a lot more people. But I would definitely check out that video if you do plan on viewing a launch, or if you are here and need to figure out where to go for the second launch of the night.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm putting it in chat if you want to check it out. Just quicker that way, I guess, for you to save the link.
The link is in chat. Thank you, Alex, for spamming that. Let's see. Everybody is reacting to hot goss. All right, you know what? It's to each their own. Jay LaRose, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. And I don't even know how to pronounce this name. It's like a little smiley face kind of deal. Thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Moldy Space, perhaps one of the best humans ever. Moldy, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. You're the best. Joe Howard, also gifting 5 Red Team memberships. And Chris W. gifting 1. Buzz Genie gifting 1. Wow, a whole lot of people gifting memberships tonight. Ninja Decimator gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Y'all, coming out with heavy support tonight for Falcon Heavy and USSF-52. Thank you so much. We seriously could not do what we do without the
running
members.
out of fun tokens.
And I'm loaning, or Sawyer's loaning me some, so it's fine. But really, thank you.
Wait, I am?
Yeah, you are. No, it's we.
They're not transferable.
Just go. Oh,
right.
Then I'm in trouble.
And anyway, I'm probably in the negative, so it's not even worth it.
Either way, we put a lot of work into the member program. There's a whole bunch of cool content that goes up there that doesn't go anywhere else. And definitely, if you are not a member, be sure to consider becoming a member. All kinds of cool perks. You get chat emoji. You get, like I said, exclusive content. Sometimes, every now and then, we'll do like a members-only live stream. At Capcom level and above, you get Discord access. The Discord is an amazing place. I just mentioned Moldy Space. Moldy Space makes horrible things in KSP, and you can head on over to the gaming channel in Discord and check out all of the abominations that are being made. Or, if you want something more informative, you can go over to the Starship channel in the Discord and talk about Starship, or in the SpaceX channel and talk about whatever mission is happening next. So definitely consider the membership program, or if you got gifted a membership, check out the perks that you just got gifted, and that's so nice of everybody for doing that. Thank you.
Also share your hot goss, I guess.
Yes, you can share hot goss in the member Discord. I am going to allow it. Moldy Space gifting 5 more Red Team memberships. Ryan R. Rides gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you so much. And Steve, oh gosh, can I say this last name? Steve Kalevic. Thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Y'all, this is truly outstanding support. I am already way behind, thanking everybody. But let's jump into some more information, and then we'll get back to support here in a little bit. And see, Jaden Booth in chat is saying, I have not heard that phrase before, but I like it. So yeah, winning people over one bit of goss at a time. I can't even do it with a straight face. But yeah, let's talk about the trajectory. Alex, you said it's highly inclined and highly elliptical, which is what necessitated the use of a heavy lift vehicle. but let's take a look at the way that this bird is going to fly and talk about that a little bit. Go.
Yeah, so this is going to be a rare Falcon Heavy because up to now, every single Falcon Heavy launch has been straight to the east. No viewing opportunities for anyone up the coast. But today that changes for everyone up there in the northeast of the United States. You're going to be able to maybe see Falcon Heavy if the weather permits. I think I've been made aware, at least in the internet, that there might be some clouds up there. But if you have any chances of that, this is going to be today's chance for that, because we have a Falcon Heavy going northeast, basically almost hugging the coast of the United States up the east coast, and definitely very, very interesting because if you catch it, that's going to be unique. It's not usual. And then also you might be wondering, well, where are the boosters going for this one? Falcon Heavy has 3 boosters. The side boosters, the ones on the sides, go back to the launch site for this one. They're going to land in Zone 1 and land in Zone 2. They're going to be landing there approximately 8 minutes after launch. And the center core, just as usual these days, it's going to be expanded. If you're asking for a recoverable Falcon Heavy center core, that might be a bit a ways. I think at least 3 or 4 Falcon Heavy launches down the line, there's a launch that has the center core landing on a barge. But so far, the next few launches will also have an expendable center core, and today is no different as well with that. The fairing halves will be recovered. I think it is Doug out there recovering these fairings. I think they're about 1,600 kilometers, maybe a bit further away. Last I checked, at least it was about 1,600, but it might be somewhere around that at least. But yeah, it's very, very far away, as you can see. And then yeah, the whole trajectory, as you can see, this is different from Falcon 9. Falcon 9 doesn't go that far down range, precisely because it doesn't have those 2 side boosters. But Falcon Heavy is a whole different beast. And the second stage will go into orbit and then release the X-37B. What orbit? We don't know. And then it'll re-enter over North Pacific. I think it is a bit south of Alaska. I think it is. So yeah, that's going to be another interesting thing to spot if people are able to spot that.
Excellent. Yeah, and I mean, let's talk for a brief moment about Falcon Heavy center cores. I think early on, they did try to recover a couple and were not successful. And then since then, they have expended each center core for Falcon Heavy. But thankfully, because we got 5, assuming tonight's launches, 5 launches this year. If the first center core recovery attempt in a while happens in like 4 launches, like you said, Alex, that could be, for all we know, in 2024. But just really quickly, why is it so hard to recover that center core? I mean, is it just because it's going so dang fast and so far downrange by the time it seps from the second stage?
Yeah, it's not only that it is going fast, but also because it needs to slow down. Because if it were only that it is fast, then you're like, okay, well, I still can reserve some propellant, because at the end of the day, as it goes through the atmosphere, it's the atmosphere mostly that does the slowing down effort, right? But the problem is precisely not that it is the atmosphere too thick, I guess, for such a speedy reentry, but also that you need the propellant to be able to survive that reentry, because it does this reentry burn. To be able to survive that, you need to save fuel for that. You need to save fuel for the landing as well. And then also it's landing super far away. It's really complicated. It needs to go through high speed reentry. It needs to save propellant to reenter and everything and to land. So it is not really feasible when you have a mission like this today, for example, where you need to put something like the X-37B, which is about 6 to 7 tons in mass, in our highly inclined and highly elliptical orbit. However, there's a launch coming up in 2 or 3 Falcon Heavy launches, basically by the end of next year, beginning of the following one, probably, that is launching Astrobotics Griffin lander. And that lander is about, I think, 4 tons, and it is going to the moon. Now, it is true that it is going to the moon, but 4 tons is there on the edge of, like, it's low enough in mass that you can throw it to the moon and recover all 3 boosters of Falcon Heavy, but not being able to launch it on an expendable Falcon 9, for example, because Falcon 9 wouldn't be able to throw it that far away in expendable mode. So that's why they got a Falcon Heavy. And according to SpaceX's to one of the SpaceX vice presidents, John Edwards, he said that at least that mission will have a recoverable center core, so they're planning for that. And
Also-
yeah, we're probably going to see that.
Yeah, also stop me if you've heard this one before, but they did successfully land a center core on one of the drone ships. However,
Yep.
it kind of tipped over on its way back to port. That hasn't happened since at all. No. 1058 rip.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
course.
indeed. In fact, we have it's not a viewer question, but it's in the question queue from Mark Kangay, saying, RIP B1058. Sawyer, what's your take on the loss of 1058? I saw, dare I say, some hot goss on Twitter in the last few days regarding the loss of this historic vehicle. It's a shame, but to me, that's just sort of the way that it goes. But do you have any thoughts?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of sad. It's weird. You're slightly attached to an inanimate object, which is quite strange in this instance. And it's not one of our Starship plushies. But at the same time, it set a record. It still holds that record. It literally
Right.
has a Guinness World Record to its name, whether the booster's there or not. You can't take that away. And the other thing, I think, as nice as it would have been to be in a museum, it kept pushing the limits. The one that first brought Americans back into space kept pushing limits even more. And I think it's better that if it had to be lost, the booster was lost following a mission as opposed to, say, it snapped in half when they were lifting it off the barge kind of deal. So it at least was doing what it does best when it split and fell.
Yeah, you know what? I'm inclined to agree. I'd rather... it would be cool, obviously, to see it in a museum, but at the same time, would you rather the vehicle go out doing what it's meant to do? Or would you rather the vehicle sort of gather dust in a museum? I mean, it's kind of the same to me as the reuse of and expending of shuttle main engines on SLS. It's like, well, they could just sit around and gather dust, or we can let them go out in a blaze of glory one final time. And I think really the big thing to underscore with the loss of V1058 is, as you can see by the pictures on the left-hand side, a large portion of the vehicle, including all of the engines, remained on the deck of the drone ship, and SpaceX will be able to tear all of that apart, as this booster is the life leader, the flight leader, and they will be able to gather precious data from that. So data and payload to orbit is good when it comes down to it, and it's a shame to lose a vehicle, especially on recovery. But you know what? They didn't lose it on a launch. Falcon 9's record remains unblemished in recent times, and like I said, more data is more better. Good deal. Let's do some more... Oh, we do have a tweet from SpaceX saying that... Oh, can I load it? Can I load the tweet? All systems are looking good, and weather is 90% favorable for tonight's Falcon Heavy launch of USSF-52. The webcast will go live 15 minutes ahead of liftoff. So, everything is looking good. 90% favorable weather. So, barring any issues with the vehicle, we should see this bird lift off the ground in just under 52 minutes. But yeah, let's hit some more support really quick, and then let's do some more questions. But go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, just before you go into that, I should remind that we are probably around the time where they will do the go no go poll for propellant load. That propellant load will start at T-minus 50 minutes, and so we are approaching that point of loading propellants onto Falcon Heavy. They will start with kerosene on all 3 boosters, and then they'll go with liquid oxygen. And later down the line, it'll be, again, kerosene for the second stage, and then liquid oxygen for the second stage. So we're approaching that point in the countdown.
Excellent. Well, we will continue to remain vigilant for any additional details. But 90% weather ain't bad, right, Sawyer?
I mean, that's really good. The biggest concern I think that any of us had for this particular launch was the upper level winds, because when you see the US Space Force, in this case the 45th Space Wing, put out their weather forecast, the 90% doesn't necessarily include those upper level winds. It does give a potential. So in this case, instead of low, which is normal, it's low moderate. But if those stay within limits, I mean, where I currently am, there are barely any clouds in the sky, a few little thin stragglers, but otherwise, it is a beautiful starry night.
Excellent. Hoping for a beautiful launch on a beautiful night. And I hope you get a beautiful view, Sawyer. Speaking of weather, Musical Wolves is asking, how is the recovery weather? Not all at once.
I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter for this mission, since the
It's the same as launch weather.
Right, yeah, the core isn't being recovered, and the two side boosters are landing at LZ1 and 2, which is about 4-ish miles, 3-4 miles from my right. So not
yeah, I
in
guess
the
that would leave the fairings, right?
That would be the only thing, is the fairings, which Doug is down there for, and those, I mean, as much as they try and reuse them, I don't think it would be the end of the world if they didn't recover those, but Doug is downrange just chilling anyway for them.
Good deal. I mean, hey, $6 million fishing trip ain't bad. Famously, each fairing half is around $3 million, although that was like several years old data. Who knows at this point? And I'm sure that cost gets, oh god, what's the word? Amortized over the life of the fairing, so it's not $3 million per lot. Anyways, Doug is recovering the fairing. RC Horseman, thank you so much for the $50 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. We really appreciate that because the money goes straight to us. But we really appreciate all of the support. Let's see. RC Horseman says, it's so great that NSF keeps giving us these views. Here's some help to offset costs. Thanks so much. For real. Thank you so much. We couldn't do this without y'all's support. We are like a viewer-supported news network, dare I say? So, thank you, RC Horseman, and thank you everyone else for supporting what we do. Even if it's just hitting the like button. If you can't support what we do monetarily, that's totally fine. Everyone else is picking up the slack. But you know what you can do? You can hit that little like button. And that lets the YouTube algorithm overlords know that this might be a stream that others might want to watch. Snot Garden, one of our viewers with perhaps the worst name, but we still love you anyways, Snot Garden. Thank you for the super chat. They say, thanks for the great coverage. Let's get elliptical. Indeed. Camper News.
That's a good one.
Camper News Network. I'd rather get highly inclined. I mean, like in a lazy boy or something. I guess that would be reclined. I don't know.
But it's
I mean,
elliptical.
yeah, in the couch.
Okay, not all at once. Sawyer, go first.
No, I just said it's hip to be elliptical.
I don't get the reference. Alex, go.
You know the song is hip to be square?
Mm-mm.
Huey Lewis in the news, I think.
I mean, I'm aware of it. I'm not.
That's why instead of hip to be square, it's hip to be elliptical.
All right. I'll
for
allow
shame.
it.
For shame.
Alex, did you? I feel
Yeah,
the shame.
I had my pun as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll move on. Camper News Network. Thank you for the generous support. They say thanks for an amazing 2023 NSF. Really excited to see this launch from 38 miles south of KSC. What's the record for fastest turnaround between two launches? Alex, you hit on this when we were starting out the stream, but couldn't hurt to go over it again.
Yeah, so the record, I need to, I have it here, right? Okay, the record right now is 4 hours, 11 minutes, and 20 seconds between Starlink Group 2-8 and SES-18, SES-19. That was in March of this year. That was actually between a Vandenberg launch and a launch from the Cape, from the Cape.
Right.
A turnaround record, I guess, from the Cape alone, maybe about 8 hours or so. I think it was between Psyche and another start. Yeah, here. NASA's Psyche and then Starlink Group 622. That was 8 hours, 41 minutes, and 27 seconds. That was the previous turnaround record, I guess, or not turnaround, but more like shortest span between two SpaceX launches from the Cape. From any launch from the Cape that is actually not the case. There's like some Gemini mission and the Agena target vehicle that they launched. I think it was like 92 minutes or something like that. It is crazy. But
I
yeah,
believe that's Gemini 6 and it's Agena docking vehicle, if I recall. Or no, yeah, I
one
think it
of
was
those.
Gemini 6. One of them.
There were definitely multiple of those that they did within 1 hour and a half, 2 hours or so between launches. So at that point, it kind of gets really hard to pinpoint the exact Gemini mission because they did multiple of those. But yeah, and today it will be a bit under 3 hours. I haven't done the math yet on the exact number of minutes and seconds and things like that, but I can do it as we go through the countdown.
Indeed. All right. Well, and also, like you said, depends on when the Starlink actually launches, because it does have quite a broad time range in which it could launch in. Oh, I didn't mention at the top of the stream that Patrick is operating in the background, running the stream. And as you can see here from this shot, from one of our cameras at the Kennedy Space Center press site, Patrick is mooning us right now. You can see the moonrise right there, just over the horizon.
The color of it is absolutely amazing right now. That orangish yellow glow right as it comes
orange.
up over the horizon. Yes, it's orange. There's one little cloud right above it where I am, and it's just illuminating that one cloud and rising through the bushes here. It's beautiful. Anyway.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite a night for a Falcon Heavy and also a Starlink. So, good deal. We got a launch doubleheader. We got a fancy secret mini space plane going to a fancy, highly inclined, highly elliptical orbit. So, all kinds of interesting things happening tonight. Let's see. Richard Cochran, thank you for the support. They say to the NSF team, May 2024, fulfill all your dreams. Enjoyed your coverage this year. Thank you so much. Jeff Rowe gifting a red
Why
team
only
membership.
May?
Wow.
I knew you were going to do that pun.
Josh Schulten, thank you for the support. They say, in light of the booster toppling over on a marine asset, do you foresee SpaceX utilizing RTLS more often? I don't necessarily. Alex, what are your thoughts? And then we'll do Sawyer, and then we'll continue on.
Well, I think it might not be that big of a deal in that sense. Mostly because, I don't know, it was one off. It's actually a two off because there's been two, but it's been 2 out of 202, I think. Let me actually check it out. Yeah, 202 drone ship landings. Out of 202 drone ship landings, there's been 2 cases where the booster has toppled over and broke. And it's actually the first in, I don't know, more than 150 or something. So, I don't know. I don't think it's really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I would agree.
So much of a big deal that they need to change the whole pattern of upcoming launches. They will still do more RTLS missions probably, and we talk about this, that in order to increase the cadence, they probably will do RTLS Starlinks and things like that and all that. But that won't be as a result of this loss, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'm inclined, highly inclined, just like the orbit of Falcon Heavy tonight. I'm inclined to agree. It's in some ways it's remarkable they haven't lost more. It's just 200 landings on a little postage stamp, relatively sized barge out in the middle of the ocean. It's truly remarkable. Sawyer, any thoughts before we move on?
I mean, you pretty much nailed it. They've gotten really successful at it. If you remember from the tweet, they already said that other boosters, newer ones, have more stabilization in them already to prevent this from happening. So it's not like they have to come up with a fix. They already technically have one. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an impact. The only reason we would see more RTLS missions, as you pointed out, is that Elon wants 144 launches next year.
Yeah, and that is not related to losing the booster. That is just how can they increase their cadence to hit their goal. Obviously, it's faster to turn around a booster that RTLS is than one that lands on the drone ship, just because it's already back at the launch site. Coco Cats, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Cantankerous Cooperator, thank you for the support. They say, does SpaceX utilize 2 separate launch control centers for back-to-back launches, or is it the same team? Do we know, Alex?
It is separate teams, but they have different control rooms. So launch control is from here, from the launch site, because it's launch control. Mission control is at Hawthorne, and they also have multiple mission control rooms. And launch control, as far as I know, they use the new one that they have at Hangar X. Hangar X, they now have this fancy new launch control center, launch and landing control center. I'm not sure if they still use the older one near the south gate. They probably still do, maybe as a backup thing. But they're basically trying to concentrate all of the operations at Roberts Road. And right there at Hangar X, they have that launch and landing control center. Speaking of launch and landing, I guess, we can see there the first signs of liquid oxygen loaded onto the boosters. That started 5 minutes ago, but it usually takes a bit of time until the level of the liquid oxygen is high enough to be able to be seen on the walls of the tank, because it starts from frost and everything. We can see there that condensation coming up the side of the rocket. So yeah,
And that means
there
we've
we go.
gotten further than the previous time we tried to launch.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
didn't get into propellant load. At least this time we are into propellant load.
Excellent. So Falcon Heavy is coming alive as propellants are loaded into the vehicle. That is exactly what we want to see at this point in the flow. So very good news there. Alex, this one's for you. Cameron Whiteman is asking, what does MY and PY mean? That refers to the side boosters, does it not?
Yeah, if you look at the description, you can see things like PY booster, MY booster, and people might be like, "Oh, what's this all about?" I put it kind of in purpose, but it's also because it is the way that SpaceX calls the side boosters. So Falcon Heavy, just like any other rocket out there, has a coordinate system to be able to know where things are located on the rocket. And so the Y on that MY and PY refers to the Y-axis. The Y-axis is the one that goes left to right on the rocket. If you see basically the front, that was a good one,
Nice.
Patrick. Thanks.
Nice
So
work, Patrick.
so there you go. That will be the Falcon Heavy rocket as seen from the flame trench side of this launch pad, I guess, in horizontal configuration. The MY booster is the one on the right, closer to the tower. In this case, on the live view on the right, it will be the one on the left. The one closer to the tower is the MY booster, and the PY booster is the one further from the fixed surface structure. So the MY and PY, as you can see there, stands for minus Y-axis and plus Y-axis. The X-axis will be the one from the bottom of the rocket all the way to the top, and it goes in that direction. And then the Z-axis is the one, basically, I guess, perpendicular to the other two. I don't know which direction that will be, but I guess in the case of Falcon Heavy, as it is right now on the pad, it will be the north-south direction, because it's looking
Excellent.
to the north, and that's C+.
Good deal. Sean Plays Too Much is asking, are all three boosters getting recovered? No. Center core is getting expended. Side boosters are performing an RTLS. And Jacob is asking about the trajectory. We already went over that. We'll go over that again in a little bit here as we are getting closer to launch. Just now, 37 minutes and 30 seconds-ish to go. Let's see. Ryan R. Rides, thank you for the support. They say, special shout out to my boss and business partner for giving me a full year Red Team membership. Go Falcon Heavy, go Starship. That's a cool boss right there. Mans on Mars, thank you for the support. They say, would you rather bet the future of human space exploration on Elon Musk or Dev Aisa, CEO Helios Aerospace from show For All Man? I haven't watched For All Mankind, I have to confess. It's been on my list forever. I have not gotten around to it. Alex, which do you trust more?
Do I have to answer? I have watched the series, but
I feel like that we're getting into spoiler territory, so maybe we just
right now I'll leave it at maybe maybe Dev. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I see Ryan is in chat spamming the Jack L.
Yeah, that's
because I haven't seen For All Mankind.
That's a very.
I haven't seen the latest
Jack
season. I
L.
really do have to watch that.
It's a really good season. You should watch it. Not sponsored, by the way.
Ryan, I don't know. Do you want me to do this to you when you're on stream? Because I will. I mean, go watch some good movies, my guy. Drew Plays, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. David Fire or Fry, thank you for becoming a Padret member. Michael T. Kerr, thank you for the support. They say, Ravioli, what can you tell us about X-37B's OTV payloady? I can't even do
It was
it.
supposed to be like SpongeBob, ravioli, give me the formioli. But what we can tell you is that we know of at least one experiment on board, and it involves seeds. There is a NASA experiment aboard that is meant to study seeds, and we believe it is to study how they react to radiation. So as we plan to live on the moon and Mars in the future, to basically see how we can continue to grow crops even outside of our atmosphere, especially going through something like the Van Allen belt. Other than that, we know that it has in the past launched other satellites from a small sort of cargo bay that it has in it. We do not know for certain if there is anything on board at this time. We also know that it is very likely to change its orbit during its time in space, which could lead to other different types of experimentation. So unfortunately, that's all that we know 100% for certain at the moment. But yeah, other than that, we don't even know how long it's going to be up there. The last mission of this one, OTV-6, was 908 days. And that landed November of 22. So.
Right. And in addition to the SEED experiment for NASA that we know about, here, I'm going to read from the Space Force's press release from late November as to what they are going to do. It says the 7th mission of the X-37B will be the first to launch on a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket, with a wide range of test and experimentation objectives. These tests include operating in new orbital regimes. So we talked about that a little bit with the highly inclined and highly elliptical orbit. It's going to a completely different orbit than it ever has before. So that is something to test and experiment with. It says experimenting with space domain awareness technologies and investigating the radiation effects to NASA materials. So space domain awareness technologies, that is ways you can detect and be aware of other objects in space, whether it's adversarial satellites or whatever else. So
Yeah.
it's not super descriptive, but it does give us a little bit of an insight into what's going to be going on. Sawyer, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. It is also worth noting that what we know of in terms of its orbit, and again, all subject to change, it will be flying over certain sensitive areas, we'll say, such as the Middle East, Ukraine, other potentially war-torn areas at the moment. And again, that's the whole ability to change its orbit, things like that make it different. And the other fun fact that I wanted to mention, because you pointed out this is the first time it's flying on Falcon Heavy, we almost saw this launch on a Delta IV Heavy, or I guess in that case, Scrub on a Delta IV Heavy. It was a bidding between Delta IV Heavy and Falcon Heavy for this contract, and SpaceX ended up winning out. So the final Delta IV Heavy next year will go to a different Space Force mission.
All right. Let's see here. Bedtime Continuum with the super chat just saying, woo! Good deal. Oh, Beer Time Continuum. Thank you for that. David,
I'll follow with that. Woo!
Yeah, woos all around. David Graper, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Angry American, thank you for the support. Asking people to give likes since there's 10 plus K watching and only 1.8K likes. Hit the like button, y'all. Josh W., thank you for the support. Some pun tokens for me. Thanks, I'll need them after today's stream. Willie Olson becoming a Padret member. Buzz Genie with a super chat. Thank you. Merlin becoming a Capcom member. Merlin, hop into Discord and say hey. Because you get Discord access.
Also, is it Merlin Vacuum? Merlin
I don't think they
1D,
specify,
1E?
but I think we can safely say it's not a stubby Merlin, so it's the good kind of Merlin.
Fair
Like
point.
today's 2 missions.
Glenn, thank you for grabbing something from the store and for the kind words. Steve Kalovic again. with a generous super chat saying, "What are each of you looking most forward to in 2024?" Oh, goodness. You know what? I'm going to be boring and say more Starship flights. Alex, what are you most looking forward to in 2024?
Oh, I have a list here of things. So 144 launches by SpaceX, more Starship launches, more Chinese launches, I guess. Although then it's really complicated to write about on Twiz. Vulcan debut, Dream Chaser, Polaris Dawn, Ariane 6, Vega C, Return to Flight, CLIPS missions, Europa Clipper, all the lunar landers, Hera, New Glenn debut, Changi 6, Gangneung testing, NISAR, NSSL Phase 3 contracts are also going to be out, operational Kuiper launches, ABL returning to flight again, and a lot of European launchers debuting. There you go. It's
Wow,
almost like
just-
I'm doing a video about that, and I have a list in front of me.
Yeah, wow. Did you even say New Glenn?
Yeah, New Glenn,
He
maybe,
did.
hopefully.
Okay, I missed it in the laundry list of things. Sawyer,
Yeah.
as if Alex just sucked all the air out of the room. What are you most looking forward to in 2024?
Well, it's a good thing I'm outdoors then. I'm looking forward, honestly, to the rise of the methane rocket. One of the first videos I did when I joined NSF was about the upcoming Methalox rockets. And now we're finally getting to see them. Like you said, potentially New Glenn. We've got Vulcan flying. We've got all Starship flying. I'm excited to see this new era of spaceflight. Almost gone are the ways of, RP-1 in locks and especially hydrolocks, which that never causes issues. So I'm excited to see the era of Methalox begin.
I mean,
Indeed.
both Vulcan and New Glenn are Methalox and Hydrolox.
Well, if you
Because their
count the
upper
upper
stages
stages,
are-
yeah.
Yeah, because they're both, they have both fuels.
We're gonna need to come
You
up
know
with
what I
another
mean.
term because we need to combine Methalox and Hydrolox into like
Messy
methyl
Hydrolox?
Hydrolox.
Yes, something like that.
That's weird.
I'm gonna change my answer. I'm most excited for Osiris Rex canister opening and just science from that asteroid sample return mission. That I'm really
James
excited for
Webb,
personally.
more science
James
from-
Webb, yeah, more
from
James Webb
James Webb.
stuff. More science, more better. Plutonium 239, thank you for the support. They say, what will SpaceX do if any of the booster on Falcon Heavy gets damaged? What will they do? I mean, they'll either repair them or scrap them. I don't know that I have anything else to add. Does anyone else have anything else to add?
That's why they have a
Pretty much what
fleet.
you said. Yeah.
Good deal.
These
Lalo,
two, I
ahead,
would guess, the two side boosters on this mission, do you need to come back though? Like, they really need them? I mean, it's not a really, real need, but it will be very, very neat if they came back, because they're going to be reused one last time next year on the Europa Clipper launch. So these need to come back to be able to launch that, or else they need to make new boosters, and I guess that will be a very expensive flight, because then all three boosters will be new, and yeah, that's pricey. And they're all being expended on Europa Clipper.
Yeah, these sidecores started, or the side boosters, excuse me, started way back in 2022, about 13 months ago with USSF-52, that much maligned mission. But I mean, this is their fifth launch now, so they've been used pretty well. And it is worth reminding that it is possible to convert these Falcon Heavy sidecores into regular Falcon 9s, but obviously they've chosen to keep these basically throughout their lifespan as Falcon Heavy sidecores.
good deal. Lalo, thank you for the support. Any Better Call Saul fans out there? Dare I say, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna throw a grenade. Better Call Saul is better than the Lord of the Rings movies. Anyways, moving on. What Lalo was asking, what's the longest delay or scrub a single rocket or mission has gone through? Oh goodness. Sawyer, I'm gonna throw this one to you.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I guess it depends on the rocket. I mean, I could still think of, oh gosh, there was NROL 44, which delayed about 6 or 7 months. At one point, it fired up its engines, and they had to go re-repair that because it didn't launch. You had a whole bunch of shuttle missions. There were at least 2, I believe,
Ground
that
umbilical
delayed.
carrier plate.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that delayed 6. I mean, STS-133, one of the last shuttle launches, ended up delaying almost a year. STS-127 delayed 6 different times. So I think it's hard to know exactly, but it's likely involving shuttle is probably the longest.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we got to mention Artemis 1. Very, very delayed. I don't know about most delayed, but very delayed. It happens. It's rockets. As much as I hate the phrase, space is hard, even though I absolutely hate that phrase.
I'm gonna mention one
Um,
super controversial starship.
Also, yes. Also, yes.
Yes.
Mark Hanlon, thanks for the support. Daniel Hogman, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Josh Schulten, thank you for the super chat. They say, even though the center core is expendable, does SpaceX ever attempt to recover undamaged components from it? I suspect that when it hits the water, it kind of just goes kablooey and sinks.
Yeah.
Alex?
Even before that, I expect that to not survive re-entry because one of the reasons it survives re-entry, or I guess there's multiple reasons why it survives re-entry. First of all, it does a re-entry burn, but it also re-enters engines first. So for example, the Electron booster, right? The booster for Electron, I guess, it doesn't do a re-entry burn, but it survives re-entry, and that is because it has RCS thrusters that, with those, it is able to control itself to be able to point the engines first, and it has a heat shield at the base of those engines. It has a precise guiding so that it doesn't tumble through the atmosphere. If you basically come in very smooth and straight through the atmosphere instead of tumbling. When you tumble, you have a lot of forces going on there that want to rip apart the booster. If you instead just use the booster's own strength to carry loads in the vertical direction, right across the vehicle from bottom to top, I guess. The booster is already made to face all of that force because it needs to face all of that from the engines. So if you are able to carefully control the booster through re-entry in that way, then it doesn't burn up. However, the center core doesn't get outfitted with that kind of control mechanisms like the grid fins and the RCS thrusters, and so because of that, it'll just tumble. So as it after separation, it'll just tumble, it'll go through re-entry, and it'll be tumbling all the way through the atmosphere. And at one point during that tumbling, it may break up because initial Falcon 9s, they also tried to do the same where they just expended the booster, they throw it to the ocean, and they thought that just by having a parachute, for example, and popping it out after re-entry, they could just basically recover the booster from the ocean. The problem is, again, that re-entry breaks up the booster. So you need to carefully control that re-entry in order to be able to not break the booster. So that Falcon Heavy center core is probably going to break up in the atmosphere before it even reaches the ground or the ocean, I guess.
Right. All right, well, we are coming up on the best vent, which is a little bit different than the standard best vent for Falcon 9, here in just about a minute. But really quickly, Rankley is asking Moon Jelly, and I see a lot of people in the chat asking if there will be any sort of jellyfish effect tonight. There will be a sort of a Falcon Nebula from the 2 side boosters RTLSing, but Sawyer, do you anticipate any jellyfish action tonight?
Potentially, but at this point, I think the location of the moon at this point might not benefit that. But as you mentioned, there is plenty of plume interaction with the Falcon Heavy and the 2 side cores separating from the core stage. So we'll definitely get an amazing view. And again, the second stage typically still provides a decently wide trail as it, the thinner atmosphere causes it to expand.
Right. Speaking of expanding in the atmosphere,
Yep.
we have venting from Falcon Heavy. This is the T-minus 22-minute vent, which is analogous to the T-minus 20-minute vent that we see on Falcon 9s that we frequently call the best vent. Alex, what exactly are we seeing here?
I was replying to the back
Yes.
channels
Yes,
with
you
my
were.
actually I'm actually wearing the glasses right now because I'm a bit blind these days. But yeah, the a T-minus 22-minute vent that is coming out from the TE, from the Stromback, and it is actually to be able to cool down the lines to the second stage that load the liquid oxygen onto the second stage. So we are right now at that moment where they're wrapping up kerosene load on the second stage, and they're preparing to load liquid oxygen on that second stage. And so that load, obviously, you don't want things like bubbles forming in the lines, because when you have basically lines that are at room temperature, I guess, in Florida, and room temperature in Florida right now is probably already above freezing point. And the liquid oxygen is very, very cold. I think it is about minus 200 Celsius. I don't know what's that in Fahrenheit, but Google is free for now, so you can use that to find out. But yeah, it's very, very cold. In comparison with the lines are very hot, and so it will just flash boil if you were not, just passing a little bit of this oxygen through the line and getting it to the correct temperatures. So that is why that big vent. It's really strong today. I guess it's probably the weather conditions. But yeah, preparing just for the load.
All right, well, just about T-minus 20 minutes to go, and everything on track as evidenced by that vent. So that's exactly what we want to see at this part in the flow. David Tomasi, I'm probably butchering your last name, I apologize, but it might even be David. They're asking you, Alex, is there a launch window or is it instantaneous? It's not instantaneous, right?
Yeah, it is a launch window, a 10-minute launch window. Of course, now that we are into propellant load, actually, they cannot, just delay a little bit into the mission. If it were, or I guess the window, if it were a 4-hour window or things like that, they may be able to recycle. The problem is with Falcon Heavy, we haven't really seen them recycling at any point in the past. We don't even know if it has a capability to recycle on the same day. Falcon 9 definitely does, but Falcon Heavy is a different beast because it's larger and it also uses a lot more liquid oxygen and a lot more liquid nitrogen to cool down that liquid oxygen. So we'll see.
Excellent. Anonymous, thank you for the support. They don't want any more puns, but they're still supporting what we do, so thank you. Hop Hayes, thank you for the support. They say, cheers from Indianapolis. Got the NSF Starship Cybertruck calendar for Christmas. Can't wait for 169 launches in 2024. Thanks for doing that, Hop Hayes. Chris W. What's up, Chris? Thank you for the support. They're thanking us for the amazing coverage throughout 2023. And here is the 2024 with the best team on the internet. Indeed. Brandon Meyer, thank you for the support. They say, thanks for the great year of live streams, recaps, and breakdowns. Can't wait to watch more in 2024. Kalima, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member. Also, Bruce Lieb becoming a Pad Rat member. All right, I'm trying desperately to keep up with all the support here. Thank you so much, everybody, for making this job difficult. It really means a lot, and it means that we can continue to do what we do, and even more, we can add more cool things to our list of cool things that we do. Angry American gifting a Red Team membership. Habu73 with a $5 super chat saying, after main engine cutoff and stage separation, how far apart are stages 1 and 2 when the MVAC kicks in? Love seeing the video from inside stage 1 when it happens. Alex? This is an Alex question if I've ever heard one.
I really don't know. I guess you could probably estimate it. By eye, it kind of looks like maybe 2 or 3 meters away. Maybe, but I don't really know, to be honest.
It's a good question. I would like to, someone to pixel count and estimate, what the distance there is. Here's another one for Alex. 6-String Simpleton, one of those names that pops up all the time, asking, was the lull this month the longest span this year without a Falcon 9 launch?
Yeah, so the gap that we had, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, it was indeed the longest span between Falcon 9 launches that we have had so far this year. It's obviously not the longest ever, because there's been way longer. Boy, I was around for some of those, and it was really hard. Nowadays we're a bit spoiled with how fast this cadence is. But yeah, it was really weird to see this. It was more than 10 days. I'm actually trying to check it out. It was 10 days, 19 hours, 57 minutes, and 20 seconds between launches, and it was not easy to go through those 10 days.
Yeah, indeed.
And yet, in my day,
We're getting a lot of comments about B1058. John Griffin is asking for a moment of silence for the Worm logo booster. As we all know, Worm is the best NASA logo, and I will take no arguments. So let's have precisely 5 seconds of silence in respect for B1058 starting now. All right, there you go. It was a
I
good
think it's
booster.
worth noting that it had both on them. It had both the meatball and the worm. So whichever team you're on, it supported it.
Yeah, but I would argue that having both made it worse. But you know what? No one cares.
Don't even. Let's continue on.
Oh, good deal. Lalo, thank you for the additional support. They say, what rocket/mission has had the most... Oh, they already asked this. The most scrubs or delays. But thank you, Lalo, for the support. Blackhawk New Zealand, or Blackhawk NZ, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Methane... Is that really spelled their name? Methane. Thank you for the support. LS4222, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Austin, becoming a Padrat member. Nick, becoming a Red Team member. Linda, becoming a Capcom member. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much. Linda, slide into Discord and say hey. Alright. Rankley is asking, we know this is a classified mission, but what are your speculations on what the X-37B's purpose is? Sawyer, we talked about this a little bit already, but couldn't hurt to hit again as we were just under 15 minutes to go. Any thoughts on the spooky, secret, classified micro spaceplane?
I mean, as we were talking about earlier, it is set to fly over some less than friendly areas, places that are currently a bit war-torn, including the Middle East, including Ukraine. So I think there's a potential that it may be doing some spy work there. As mentioned, it also has space domain awareness, so keeping an eye on things that are in space at the moment or launched into space. One of my theories, again, this is theoretical, is that the fact that the seeds are on there for NASA, which we do know, that they want to expose them to radiation, at that point, you would need to probably go all the way out to the Van Allen belt. So I wonder if there are other potential experiments on board related to radiation, in particular going through the Van Allen belt, which you need to do to get to the moon or Mars, on there. And again, that one is speculation. We do know the seeds. We do know it's going to be a highly elliptical orbit, and we do know that it will be doing domain awareness in orbit.
Yeah, if it's a highly elliptical orbit, then, again, all of this is speculation, but it would make sense that at apogee, it would be in a higher radiation environment than just being in low Earth orbit. And perhaps it might even make it all the way out to those Van Allen radiation belts, which could provide some lucrative science. But once again, just to be super clear, all speculation here. All of this is classified, and it's safe to say that the Space Force is keeping things under wraps. Daniel, thank you for the support. They say, is it just me, or are Falcon Heavy center boosters always new? We touched on this a little bit. They have expended, or failed to recover, every Falcon Heavy center core thus far. So, yes. Let's see. Longhair 2012 Gaming is asking, when do we think we'll see a successful Falcon Heavy center core landing? We talked about this a little bit also as well, but Alex, what do you think? Do you think we'll see it in 2024? Or do you think it'll take longer than that, given the cadence of Falcon Heavy launches specifically?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, please?
When do you think we will see a successful Falcon Heavy core landing?
It might be on that Astrobotic Griffin lander mission. Might be that on that mission. I don't really know, to be honest. We have already seen a Falcon Heavy center core landing though. It just wasn't recovered successfully.
Right. Altair Studios is asking, what exactly is the X-37B? Well, there's multiple X-37Bs, right, Sawyer? And it's basically a tiny little space plane.
Right, we know of at least two that have flown. There is Vehicle 1 and Vehicle 2. This is Vehicle 2. I call it like a mini space shuttle, but as you mentioned, it is a space plane. It is reusable. It can go up into space. So far, it has stayed for the longest 908 days, which is almost 3 years in orbit, and then it comes back and lands under secrecy of night, typically at the launch and landing facility at the Kennedy Space Center, formerly the Shuttle Landing Facility.
Right, and it's really remarkable that it's able to stay on orbit for so long. It has a payload bay, much like the shuttle, although obviously much smaller, and it also has, in recent missions, I don't know, what would you call that, Sawyer? A service module on the aft end of it?
That's a good way to put it, I think. Yeah, I would say similar to the trunk of Cargo and Crew Dragon, but I can't think of a better description since, again, a lot of the info about it's classified.
Right, even in the pictures that the Space Force releases, they're very careful to sort of crop out that service module because it's just yet another piece of the puzzle that they are keeping under wraps. So we do know a lot about this mission for it being a classified spaceflight, but, you know, that means we ultimately have a limited window into what exactly is going on. Coming up now on T-minus 10 minutes. Excellent. So this is great. Things are progressing rapidly, and we are now under 10 minutes to go. Let's see. Angry American, thank you for the support. They say methane is basically stabilized hydrogen CH4. One carbon is bonded with 4 hydrogen atoms, making it less likely to leak. 2024 Starship lunar test landing. That must be what they're excited for. Gregory Martins, becoming a Padrat member. Thank you so much. Jason, thank you for grabbing something from the store. Looks like they got metal prints. They say, all the metal prints, go Falcon Heavy, season's greetings, and thanks for the amazing work, NSF crew. Thank you for the support. We really appreciate it. Ooh, they got my Starship launch print. Excellent. Cool thing about the metal prints, oh, they got multiple metal prints. Wow. Cool thing about those is the proceeds of the sale, a portion of it goes to the photographer that took the image. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. 3 metal prints. HJB8376, thank you for the support. They say, thanks guys, been looking forward to your awesome coverage of an awesome vehicle. Go Falcon Heavy. Angry American gifting a Red Team membership. Steve Kalovic again gifting 10 Red Team memberships, thank you. And Bideford again gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Y'all are really coming out of the woodwork with the support today. Thank you so much. Airborne Solutions, thanks for the super chat. Ken Wolf, thank you for the support. They say Happy New Year from Medina, Ohio. You know what? Let's do our standard thing, and I apologize in advance to our chat mods. Wherever you're watching from around the world, put that in chat. I'd love to see where everybody is watching from. We truly get to have a global reach with this channel, and it's basically all because of y'all's support. So bringing space news to people around the world on the backs of everybody's support. Thank you so much. I see England, Austria, Cleveland, Big Bear Lake, California. Ooh, Eric, you getting some snow up there? New Zealand, Canada, NorCal, Seattle, San Francisco Bay Area, Jacksonville, Florida. Ooh, you might have a good view up there. Yeah, thank you everybody so much for coming out and, trusting us to bring you coverage of this mission. Gregory Martins, thank you for the support. They say, go USSF-52. Still remember February 20th, 1962, John Glenn. That's awesome. Glenn Greenspan, thanks for the support. They say, watching from California, West Coast, Best Coast. Couldn't have said it better myself, Glenn. Young Quad Vet, thank you for becoming a Padrat member. Stubby Unicorn. Stubby Unicorn with a very, very generous $100 tip saying, Happy New Year from the stabbiest of unicorns. It's Stabby Unicorn, not Stubby Unicorn. I apologize. Apparently I have Stubby Nozzle on the brain, which is not a good place to have Stubby Nozzle. But
also worth pointing out currently that the center core is fully loaded up with RP-1, which is rocket propellant 1, a refined form of kerosene.
Excellent.
Yeah, and right about about this time is also the PY booster RP1 load complete as well.
Excellent. And then I assume MY comes after?
Yeah, I don't know why it is staggered, but it is staggered.
Excellent. Let's see. Can I show Stabby Unicorn's thing on its panel? Is not behaving. Cool. So what are we going to see next in... There we go. There, it's on screen now. Thank you so much, Stabby Unicorn. Extremely generous of you. And also hilarious name. Alex, what are we going to see next as the flow progresses closer to T0?
Yeah, so right now they're chilling down the 27 Merlin engines on those 3 boosters. And that is basically the part of the propellant load where they flow a little bit of the liquid oxygen through the pump, through the oxidizer pump, so that when they flow liquid oxygen at high loads, it is not flash boiling again or basically making the whole of the metals of the pumps be damaged or anything like it. So they're right there on the process, on the countdown. The next thing that we're going to see will be the retraction of the strum bag. It'll be a 1.8 degree retraction. It will be just a slight retraction away from the rocket in about a minute or so. And then after that, they'll go into the final stages of propellant load where they load liquid oxygen on all 3 boosters. They finish that loading on all 3 boosters. They go into the last phase of the liquid oxygen load on the second stage. That'll be at around T-2 minutes. Then they'll go into what is called gas closeouts, where we see this big T-2 minute vent, I guess, in this case, because it is the final vent ahead of wrapping up the whole propellant load sequence. Once that is finished, they clear the lines on the strum bag, and you see this plume coming out of the strum bag again back at the launch site. And then we'll have a T-1 minute. Falcon Heavy will come into startup sequence. That'll be when the ground computers will hand over command of the control of the countdown to the onboard computers on Falcon Heavy, and then we're gonna have that roll of the countdown, the final minute.
Indeed. All right. Well, I think at this point, with just under 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go, we should bid Sawyer adieu so he can operate some cameras and get some cool imagery. Sawyer, farewell, buddy.
I'll see you on the other side. Go Falcon Heavy.
Yes, indeed. Go Falcon Heavy, go X-37B, go USSF-52. Looking forward to see the imagery you capture there, Sawyer. Godspeed, buddy. Let's see. AJ Maddox, thank you. They say, thank you for being a clean, family-friendly feed. My 10-year-old daughter, Madeline, loves watching. Well, thank you so much for the kind words, AJ. We want to get people around the world of all ages, of all nationalities, excited about spaceflight, because we are indeed in a new space age. So thank you for watching along with your daughter, Madeline, and thank you for the kind words. We're just doing what we can to fuel the hype train here, because if everybody knew what was going on in spaceflight today, I think people would be a lot more excited. And for whatever reason, not everybody knows. So if you have any friends that might be interested in spaceflight, be sure to tell them. Also, side note, Madeline Maddox is a pretty cool name. It's like a, what is that, an alliteration? Either way, thank you for watching, everybody out there. Once again, thanks for trusting us to bring you coverage of this mission and of all missions that we are able to point cameras at. Coming up on T-3 minutes. Alex, is a strongback starting to retract?
Yeah, we were seeing there that retraction of the strum bag. We are also with the side boosters. They are already fully loaded with liquid oxygen. The center core should be next, and then the second stage.
Good deal. And I'm seeing in our back channel that the range is green. Once again, the weather for tonight's launch is 90% go. And I'm also seeing that the center core LOX load is complete. Excellent. So what's next, Alex?
Yeah, so we are waiting for those final few seconds of the propellant load on the second stage. The liquid oxygen load will wrap up at T-2 minutes, and then at T-1 minute we'll have that transition to startup mode, where they transition the control of the countdown from the ground computers to the onboard computers. And then hopefully we're going to get that go from the launch director and get Falcon Heavy roaring again.
All right, 2 minutes to go. And you can
And
see
stage
that,
2 LUX load is complete.
indeed, as indicated by that large plume from the transporter erector, similar to that T-minus 22-minute vent. So everything progressing smoothly as we get closer and closer to launch. And if you're new to our coverage, just be aware that when Falcon Heavy does lift off, we will temporarily cease our commentary so that we can listen in to the sounds of 27 Merlin engines doing their thing and lofting this secret space plane into its highly inclined and highly elliptical orbit. Oh gosh, Alex, coming up on T-minus 1 minute, any final thoughts as the vehicle begins to take over?
I'm very excited for today's Falcon Heavy. That's my thoughts. I'm really, I don't know, too excited to even talk, to even have thoughts right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a
Beast
good
of a
one.
rocket.
It really is, and it's once again remarkable that this will be the 5th Falcon Heavy launched just this year. And you know, it's a classified mission, it's a classified payload, but fact of the matter is it will be doing science, it will be gathering data, and of course, more data is more better. So here we are, T-minus 30 seconds to go.
We are
Falcon
go for
Heavy
launch.
is in startup, and we are go for launch. Thank you, Alex. And let's do this thing. Let's loft this space plane into orbit for the Space Force.
Go Falcon Heavy.
Coming up on T-minus 10. Keep your eyes on the base of the vehicle for the green flash of the T-tab that is used to ignite the engines. There it is. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon Heavy. Go USSF-52. Go X-37B. Let's listen in. There's Max Q. Wow, it never gets old, does it?
It's so amazing.
Always cool to note Falcon Heavy center core throttling down and just seeing the difference in plumes between the side boosters and the center booster. And now as the vehicle
Look at the
ascends
expansion.
into thinner and thinner atmosphere, yeah, that plume expansion is truly magnificent. What a beautiful launch. So what are we going to see next, Alex?
Well, next thing we're gonna see is gonna be booster engine cutoff, BECO, booster separation, and then they're gonna start the boost back burn on the on the side boosters, and the center core will ramp up to full power and continue pushing the second stage into near space. We're approaching that moment here.
Excellent. Let's keep an eye on the right side of the screen for those side boosters separating. And there we go. Beautiful. God, it's just so cool how they fly past the center core like that.
So amazing.
It's
And watch out for the nebula.
Yeah, here we go. Hopefully we see that on the left-hand side there. Bingo! You can hear the camera clicking away. I wonder who that is. Maybe somebody at the press
Look
site.
at that.
Is beautiful. That is both of the side boosters, their plumes interacting with the second stage plume.
The center core,
Yes, thank you, center core.
which is even larger. It's
Yeah,
an even
right.
larger plume. Because
Right.
it's 9 engines against 18 engines, I guess. No, not 18. Oh boy, 6 engines. Ah!
Right. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful stuff. So
It's
what
amazing.
are we going to see next, Alex? That's going to be
I love
main
it.
engine cutoff on the center core, right?
Yeah, so right now we're approaching main engine cutoff. The center core is burning for a whole minute after the side boosters. It is approaching MECO, main engine cutoff. It'll separate from the second stage. We'll obviously not get those onboard views from SpaceX of the second stage because it's spooky spaceplane and things like that. But definitely hoping to get a successful mission out of this second stage as usual. And then you can see we're approaching MECO.
There it is. And stage SEP any second now. Bingo. And let's see that MVAC start up.
Regular MVAC, no stubby.
Excellent. There you go. And you can hear people at the press site, I believe, cheering. Absolutely wonderful stuff. All right. Well, do we expect to get any more views from the second stage, or is that going to be it?
That's pretty much going to be it. But now the mission doesn't end here. We have the return of the boosters.
Right. We have the excellent double RTLS of both side boosters coming up, complete with sonic booms. It's like a double, triple sonic boom? So
It's triple, yeah, but 2 of them are very close together, so it's a bit confusing.
it's like boom ba boom or something like that. But either way, that's coming up here in just a few minutes away. Looking forward to that. So if you're watching, don't go anywhere. We still have both side boosters hauling the mail back to the launch site and getting ready to land at LZ1 and 2 respectively.
It's always awesome to see these RTLS landings, especially the side boosters coming back. It is always amazing.
It really is.
And
Just,
I really wonder how far apart they're gonna be. They've lately been a few seconds apart instead of being almost simultaneously. So it's gonna be interesting. That's sort of my favorite pastime nowadays with these RTLS that are becoming very very common these days. It's like, will they be super in synchrony and things like that, or they're gonna be very far apart? We'll see. We're gonna figure out that in a few minutes.
Yeah, like you said, they've been increasingly staggered in these more recent Falcon Heavy missions. So something to look out for as those boosters come back in about a minute and a half, right?
Yeah. So right now we should be coming up on entry burn in about half a minute or so, and then landing burn about a minute and a half later.
Indeed. All right, well, all eyes now are waiting to see that. And you better believe as soon as we get a camera on it, we will be showing it to you. So stand tight, hold tight, stand steady. I don't know. Either way, oh, here we go. That would appear to be entry burn. Or is that just a booster coming back hot? There you
we
go.
go.
Beautiful.
That's the entry burn. 2 candles.
And we'll see one shut off there, and we'll see the other shut off in just a moment. Leading me to think that these will be a little bit more staggered.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. All right, so next up, Alex, is going to be the landing burns for both side boosters, right?
Yeah, and this is interesting because this is sort of unique.
Hang on, sorry. Look at that. That shot was cool. You can see the lights of the Florida Space Coast as the boosters absolutely haul butt back in to the launch site. Gorgeous stuff. Sorry, what were you going to say, Alex?
Yeah, these side boosters will actually initiate the landing burns closer to the ground than usual because it's going to be a 1-3-1 burn. They're going to ignite the center engine, then 2 other engines will ignite to be able to slow down really, really fast, and then they'll shut down, and they're going to be coming down to the ground on just one single engine at the end of the burn. But it's going to be a burn that is, high pucker factor, I guess. There you go. That's landing.
Here we go. Both boosters coming in. Let's listen for the sonic booms. Absolutely spectacular. Good stuff. So both side boosters are down. That is quite a rumble.
It's so awesome.
You love to see it. You love to hear it. Falcon Heavy is truly a beast. And of course now we get to see our favorite view on launch day, which is of course the empty pad, signifying that we have indeed seen a rocket launch into space. That was absolutely wonderful. All right, well, I do want to continue to thank people who are coming out in support of our channel. We've got a bunch more support that came through. But don't forget, there is another launch coming up tonight. And we will be doing a separate stream. So stay tuned in a little bit for that. But let's see really quickly here if I can get my iPad to cooperate. Bacon Warrior, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Nanette Sklenar, thank you for becoming a Padrat member. Multi-Mutant Gamer, thank you for the support. They're asking how did they lose 1058? Didn't they have systems in place to prevent them from tipping even in rough seas? There was a tweet from a SpaceXer, if I'm not mistaken, basically saying that there are systems in place. They made some modifications so the boosters are auto-leveling. However, B1058 is a older booster, or was an older booster, and therefore was not retrofitted. So that is sort of what happened there. Trish Powers, thank you for the Padrat membership. Vridehelm Winter, thank you for becoming a Padrat member. And Nelson's Wings, also becoming a Padrat member. Y'all are the best. Seriously, absolutely wonderful. Wonderful amount of support. We really hope you enjoyed tonight's launch. Nelson's Wings, again, I already said that one. Robbie Bradley, thank you for the support. They say if this happens tonight, well, it did. Will this be the quickest back-to-back for SpaceX on the East Coast? Alex, we talked about this a little bit. It sort of depends on when Starlink launches, right?
Yeah. Can you repeat the whole question, please? Because I only heard the last part.
Will, if Starlink launches at the top of the window for Starlink, will this be the quickest back-to-back?
Yeah, so if it launches to the... I think at least the first two T-Zeros will grant the record turnaround time between launches of any SpaceX rocket, basically. So you will probably get that.
Good deal.
It will be
Let's go 2 for 2.
Yeah, it will be a
Sawyer.
bit under 3 hours on one and then 3 hours and a half on the other. But yeah.
Sawyer, how was that for you, being up
this
close and
one.
personal?
This one was unbelievable. There's a little bit of dew in the air here, so as a result, it really, really reverberated. This one was a deep rumble physically in your chest. You could hear it bouncing off of all the cars around here. We're right on the water, so that helped. That is the loudest Falcon Heavy of the ones that I've seen, and I've seen all but 2 of them. So that was phenomenal. Gorgeous view of the separation of the boosters, and then perfect landing burn, or entry burn. Great views of that, and that landing, again, same thing, you get the extra punch from the boom-ba-boom of each booster as they come in. So that's probably the best Falcon Heavy launch I've seen.
Outstanding. Well, looking forward to seeing your photos there, Sawyer. Thank you again for being out in the field, and thank you to Julia for also being out in the field and operating the camera. And I guess thank you also to Max.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they come out too, by the way.
Good deal. Let's see here. Eric Les, thanks for becoming a Padrat member. Emmanuel Bravo, thank you for the support. They say two things. One, when will we see Starship launch from Florida? And will I be able to see this launch in Delray Beach? Well, hopefully you did see the launch. As for Starship in Florida, that's tricky. I'm going to guess it's going to be at least a year, but who knows? Do either of you have thoughts? We'll go with Sawyer first.
I think it's still going to be till 2025, if I had to guess. Maybe end of 24, but that would be my guess. And down in Delray, kind of near my normal home base, you will get a great view of the second launch tonight, that's for sure, which is going southeast.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the support, Emmanuel. Bama Mike, thank you for the support. They say probably will never happen, but if the hold down clamps were to fail during a static fire, can the Starship or booster be controlled or destroyed? I mean, I think suffice to say it's going to be a bad time, one way or the other. Daniel S., thanks for becoming a Padrat member. Paul Landino, thank you for becoming... thank you for the support and saying let's go Falcon. Isaac, grabbing some items from the store. Thank you, Isaac. Anonymous, also grabbing items from the store. Thank you so much. However you choose to support us, it really means the world to us because it means we can keep doing this insanely fun job of riding the hype train and getting everyone excited about the future of spaceflight. Let's see if I can click through these. They're not working. I'm trying here. Ray McLaren, thank you for the super chat. I'm just going to round out all of our support here. I want to make sure everyone is thanked for all of their support. Let's see. Ray, thank you. They say, crazy to think 5-ish years ago, we would have said, you see 2 boosters land at a launch site? Thank you for all your amazing coverage. It really is remarkable. The double RTLS never, ever gets old. V2MRX, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Rita Kronis, thank you for being a support. They say, was the mission for this payload an X-file? I don't know that I would call it an X-file, but I get the reference acknowledged. Yeah. Rourke, thank you for the support. They're thanking us and the NSF team for all the coverage. Josh Zero, thank you for the support. They say 9 Falcon 9 boosters strapped to a Starship booster. I think Josh Zero might have had a little bit too much sugar tonight, much like me. Jim, thank you for grabbing something from the store. They say, can't get enough NSF, looking forward to more in 2024. They got a metal print. Awesome. Anonymous, they say, here, take my money, more decor for the office. What did Anonymous grab? Thank you all so much. Seriously, thank you. Looks like they got the spaceship, or the Starship calendar. Spaceship calendar. I can't talk. I'm still hyped up from Falcon Heavy. And Raphael getting the B1058 worm logo print that we just put in the store to commemorate the loss of venerable booster 1058. Angry American, thanks for gifting a Red Team membership. And the Carmen line, thank you so much. They say, Cadet from Space Force JROTC, Unit VA821, watching from Arlington, Virginia? VA's Virginia, right? I'm bad at this.
Yes, Arlington, Virginia.
They say, go USSF-52, Semper Supra. What is that, always super? I don't know Latin.
Always drive the Supra. It's a good car.
Oh my gosh. Not sponsored by whoever makes the Supra. Toyota? Oh, goodness. What an excellent launch. Thank you all for joining us. One more Mets fan is saying, I'm in Hollywood, Florida. I wonder if that was a mistype or if that was intentional. They say this was the best launch yet. Yeah, this was a really exceptional one. So
imagine getting a shot of a rocket going over that Qatar hotel in Hollywood. Just saying.
I mean, not a bad shot. All right. Well, I think with that, we will wrap things up. But stick around and keep an eye on the channel because we do have a Starlink mission launching from just across the way at Slick 40 tonight in just a little bit. But for now, that will wrap up this live stream. We will have another one, once again, for Starlink coming up here in just a few hours. But Sawyer, thank you so much for commentating and being out in the field and just being an awesome human.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's my pleasure to come out here and see launches and to be able to talk about the stuff I love. And when you get a launch as gorgeous as this one, we're talking about a great way to wrap up 2023.
Indeed. Also on commentary, we had Alex. Alex, thank you for being an awesome human and for joining us for commentary tonight.
It's always a pleasure, and I'll see you all on the Starlink stream because I'm going to be also on commentary for that one. And if I don't see you for whatever reason, then Happy New Year to everyone, and also keep your eyes peeled for Starbase coverage because there's a closure tomorrow.
Indeed, there is a closure tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen in Starbase tomorrow? So stay tuned for that as well. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do that. And you know how YouTube works. Hit the bell. You'll get a notification when we go live. And of course, we had Patrick Cahoon operating the stream. Thank you, Patrick, for pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, and running in the giant human-sized hamster wheel that makes things go. We appreciate it. And of course, I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. Y'all, just once again, huge amount of support with this stream. We appreciate it so much. We love what we do, and y'all are helping us do it. So, just from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you so much for all the support. And with that, I think we will leave y'all to hang out, maybe watch Space Coast Live, or Starbase Live, whatever you prefer. But don't fret, we will be back with another live stream for tonight's Starlink mission from Slick 40 in just a few hours. But until then, we'll bid you adieu. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all nerds in just a little bit.